cryptocurrency is a revolutionary innovation that makes life better. It improves the current financial system. Everything about it is just a massive, massive win and a massive improvement. And yet, despite that, some countries across the globe do not feel the same way that we do about cryptocurrency. In fact, the exact opposite. And many are choosing to act in very negative ways toward crypto legislatively. And that includes, right now, countries starting to officially lock Dogecoin and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Dogecoin, of course, especially concerning, because if you want to lock a dog crypto, then of course you must be a dog hater. Isn't that how it works? I think we can definitely make that connection there. Of course we can. Of course we can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. But I actually decided to put together a comprehensive list, the first and most official of its kind, that shows in detail all of the countries currently with anti-crypto laws, either banning it, going against it, locking it, all of the things that they're doing, and we need to be calling them out because there's obviously a concern that the United States could at some point have a negative crypto law that goes into place and bans the use of certain cryptos in certain ways, or prohibits this, or makes it impossible to really have it be functional as a currency. There's also the flip side of that, which is that if we win, and if we're successful here, which I think is the most likely scenario, we can also make it a very positive thing, to where the laws will help cryptocurrency and allow it to thrive without the risk of taxation on simple transactions to a certain degree, which I think is the best thing for moving forward and the best thing for the economy. But here is the list. We're going to go ahead and start off in Asia with Indonesia, who has 270 million people, one of the biggest countries in the world that doesn't get a lot of attention for some of their crypto laws. Right now, the Bank of Indonesia, the country's central bank, issued new regulations banning cryptocurrency and the use of it. There's more recent developments on this, but also since 2018, they have really been anti-crypto, anti-Bitcoin. Then we have Iran, who has one of the most complicated relationships with cryptocurrency of any country out there. The leadership there, the government, not always making logical decisions. And so, of course, that's something we have to consider and talk about. Iran, with 83 million people in the Middle East. And as you're coming into live, if you want to press like to let the governments know that we are here and we are raising our voices for Dogecoin to stop the locking of the Doge that's been happening, to stop the banning of the Doge that's been happening, to stop the banning of all cryptocurrencies together. Doesn't matter what cryptocurrency you like or hold the most of, we can all stand together here and go against these countries doing this and make sure that it does not happen in the United States, even though there is some talk of them wanting to outright ban it. Some politicians, it's a small group of people in the government that we keep talking about because they actively and are in many cases publicly trying to stop cryptocurrency. The scarier ones though are the ones who do it behind closed doors, and a lot of that, it's hard to know. I'm keeping my finger on it. I have sources in Washington. I'm going to let you know everything I can possibly let you know in terms of information, but some of it is behind the scenes work that cannot be fully revealed, but I will at some point in the future make videos that actually go into details of what's been happening. Miles J coming in with DogeX. Yes, we have a big project, DogeX, in the works. Make sure to go down there and click the link to join the Discord while it's still available. So you have to go fast if you want to be a member of that, if you want to be a part of it. DogeX is going to change the game for crypto. One of the most exciting things that you can ever possibly imagine when it comes to the NFT space. Everyone check it out. If you've never been to NFTs before, I think you're going to really love this. So go follow them on Twitter. And we have our team with that is just doing an incredible job. And I'm very excited about what we're doing with that. But Iran, with 83 million people, they historically, which means before their most recent ban of it, have had approximately 5%, close to, of the entire world's Bitcoin mining, which is a massive, massive amount. And so with that 5%, we are seeing obviously going down a lot because they decided to ban mining for 4 months, and that was close to 4 months ago, well, actually around 3 months ago. September 22nd is when it will come back online. But right now, in the cryptocurrency world, Iran is kind of a massive, massive weird card because you never really know what to expect from them. It's flourished to some degree there, but the central bank is also stopping people from using the energy because they do not want, and the government is, because they don't want it to be too heavily focused on BTC. Then Colombia, with 50 million in South America, in Colombia, the financial institutions are not allowed to facilitate Bitcoin transactions, and that's been all the way since 2014. So another country that's pretty dang big, 50 million people, who is not exactly friendly to cryptocurrency. Then we have China, and this is by far the biggest and most influential country that is currently on the naughty list when it comes to crypto, and they deserve to be there. And this is actually the one that's the primary concern when it comes to the locking of Dogecoin, because that's currently happening with many accounts in that country. And it's actually kind of a weird scenario because there are some positives if you don't live there, but the feelings we have toward that are not good, because we shouldn't have to have some people have to sacrifice their own Dogecoin in order to help the greater good involuntarily. Some people will do that voluntarily, but it's not really fair. This isn't the way we want Dogecoin to go up in price. It will likely cause it, but it's still an unfair way that I don't think should be happening. China has cracked down on cryptocurrencies with increasing intensity throughout 2021. Chinese officials have repeatedly issued warnings to its people to stay clear of the digital asset market and have clamped down hard on mining in the country, as well as cryptocurrency exchanges in China and overseas. They've been clamping down on those too. The exchanges not having a friendly time. They're not being treated fairly or well by the Chinese government. The PBOC is looking to be one of the first major central banks as well in the world to launch its own digital currency, and is doing so, and they're going to try to monitor the transactions of the people more closely with this. That's the entire point of it. The reason they're making their own digital currency is because it gives them more control, more power over the people. The government should have the people having power over it. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's the way it has been designed in most governments across the globe. But in China, the freedom, well, not so much. We don't like the way that's being handled, and I would love to see a point in the future where you don't have to worry about that if you're a Chinese citizen. The government will actually be elected fairly there, and you can pick who you want to lead. That's the way I hope it happens in the future, but we'll have to obviously stay patient and just look for that, because if that does happen, obviously they'll be way more friendly to crypto, because that's what the people want. The people don't want the government to have that much control, because you cannot trust officials like that, unelected officials, to be in charge of things so important like human life. I mean, I don't like what's happening there whatsoever, and that's where we're seeing Bitcoin and Dogecoin, but especially the concern is with Dogecoin, because it's a dog. You can't lock it. That's from our personal perspective. I guess really you could argue all of them are equally concerning, because people in China have been putting their money into exchanges. Then when the Chinese government, they have shut down some of these exchanges, then you can't get your money back if it's a Chinese specific exchange, which means you are now unable to access hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, millions of dollars, and maybe you'll never be able to access it. So it's locked, you can't get it. What does that do for Dogecoin? Well, it makes the price floor higher. It means your Doge is now going to be worth more because of it, but it's not in a fair way. And so we need that to stop, and we also need to prevent other countries from doing this similar thing, because it's not only in China. Some other countries have had similar things with this, and there needs to be laws in place to stop it. If this happens more, it will cause a lot of people around the globe to be scared to put their money in crypto, but we're not going to allow that. And if you do live in Europe, if you do live in North America, right now we do not have any countries currently that are big, meaning over 3 million people. And I'll explain what I mean by that, because there's one. But besides that one, we do not have any big countries. We do not have any countries at all besides that one in Europe or North America, so you don't have to be too worried if you live in those countries right now. But we do still have to be very cognizant of the fact that it could change in the future, and if we're not being active right now and participating, then it may just do that. If you support Dogecoin, let's make sure to press like on videos like this and show people, because there are influential people watching this show in politics. And because of that, we can use that to our advantage, show them our strength, show them how many of us there are and how important this is to us. But that really needs to stop. Then we have Bolivia right here with 12 million people, Bolivia in South America, and there is a complete ban in place on the usage of Bitcoin in Bolivia since 2014. Another 2014 country here, so really early. The Bolivian central bank issued a resolution banning it and any other currency not regulated by a country or economic zone. So there we go. Bolivia, 12 million people, not so friendly to crypto, and a lot of these countries who did it in 2014 did it before they even realized all the advantages of it and realized what it was, because it was so tiny back then. So many people that they basically, in a way, kind of robbed of seeing that massive growth if they had invested early. Shouldn't have happened, but it's the way it is. I think these countries from 2014 are the most likely ones that we have the ability to change the course for. We can stop them from this because it was so early and things have changed so much since then. But Egypt, as well, another huge country, not a lot of people talking about, and yet it's very important here, and this one may be the most concerning by far. 101 million people living in Egypt. The country's primary advisory body issued a religious decree in 2018 classifying Bitcoin transactions as prohibited religiously under the law. And I've talked to some people about this. Perhaps I'm missing something, but from what I've heard, there's not actually any backing behind the idea that Bitcoin, Dogecoin, cryptocurrency goes against any current religion on the planet, and I'm sure there's maybe some exceptions to that, but at the same time, I don't think they did a fair shake here, and if other countries start to adopt that same type of mindset, then it could be bad for cryptocurrency. And I guess you could make the argument, okay, well, they're allowed to do what they want if they think it's against, or if they believe it's against their religion, then they wouldn't do it, right? And so that kind of makes sense. I just hope people will see what I see, which is that there's is not necessarily an initial conflict there that would require you to ban it. It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense. And I think Egypt should actually be way more friendly to crypto and start taking advantage of some of the positive things of it instead of just painting it with this broad brush as bad and negative. That was also, keep in mind, that was in 2018. That's technically not legally binding. So some people in Egypt were still using it, and not everyone in Egypt has the same religion. So people who have different religions didn't actually even follow that in the first place, or other people involved, but that was not binding. And so, but also in September 2020, they decided to prevent trading or promoting cryptos without a central bank license. So basically, they're cracking down on it, but not banning it. So that's a little bit less bad than some other countries, but because of the religious part, that could be concerning because we don't want people to have other reasons to not invest in crypto besides the ones that already exist, which I think many of them are going to be debunked, and many of them already are being debunked, but adding more and definitely not a positive thing. And so we'll continue to monitor the situation. I do not think other countries will follow suit. I do not think that's going to be the primary thing across the globe. What happened actually in Egypt is most likely the banks there didn't like crypto, and so they were able to kind of use that as a way to stop it, despite not having an actual case based on what they were saying. But Algeria, with 43 million people in Africa, Algeria currently prohibits the use of cryptocurrency following the passing of a financial law in 2018 that made it illegal to buy, sell, use, or hold virtual currencies. Nepal, 30 million people over there in Nepal. Algeria, 43 million people. And so, yeah, they're basically saying, no, you can't do it. You can't hold it. Algeria, one of the strictest countries, 43 million people. That's a lot of people. Nepal, 30 million in Asia. The Nepal Restart Bank declared Bitcoin illegal as of August 2017. Not so friendly there. Then North Macedonia, and this is the one I was talking about, the only country in Europe currently who has a very strict view against cryptocurrency. North Macedonia is the only European country so far to have an official ban on cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and others in place. Not so good. Come on, North Macedonia. You want to be the only one over there? Then, of course, we go to Russia, which is another country that you may have already expected this from because of what Vladimir Putin, the leader there, has been saying. While cryptocurrency isn't outlawed in Russia, there is an ongoing conflict that's being waged there. Russia passed its first laws to regulate cryptos in 2020, which for the first time designated cryptocurrencies as property liable to taxation, something that we're seeing the United States government also looking more into, depending on what source and what viewpoint you're looking at it from, because we have the United States government looking at increasing the tax scrutiny and including more of the cryptocurrency world in that, and we've seen Russia doing that even earlier. But the law, which came into force in January this year, also bans Russian civil servants from owning crypto assets. So if you wonder how friendly are they to it, well, they don't even let the people who work in the government own it. Russian President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly linked cryptocurrency with criminal activity, calling for closer attention to cross-border crypto transactions in particular. In July, the Prosecutor General announced as well a new proposed legislation which would allow police to confiscate cryptos deemed to be illegally obtained, citing its use as in bribery. And the problem with this is they're also going to take crypto from people that wasn't actually illegally obtained because they can do this. In Russia, there's also not that much freedom there. So they can do things like that. The government has too much power, in my opinion, in a lot of countries across the globe. And so they could definitely take advantage of that and do things that aren't good. Vietnam, 97 million people in Asia. The State Bank of Vietnam has declared that the issuance, supply, and use of Bitcoin, this is the last one, by the way, is subject to punishment of very, very, very big fines. However, the government doesn't ban Bitcoin trading. So Vietnam, not as bad, but definitely another one. And so all of these together have approximately 2.2 billion people total who currently live in a country that is either restricting or fully banning or has negative views against cryptocurrency. Around 25% of the entire world, a little bit less, a little bit more than that, But think about that. That's more than 1/4 of the entire globe that does not have free and total access, or does not live in a country with cryptocurrency freedom. That needs to change. You'll notice there's 5 things that all of those countries don't have in common. They don't have a lot of freedom, or freedom. And I think the things that they should get are freedom, and freedom. So those are the 5 things I think those countries really need to get involved with. Come on, get your freedom. What the heck are you doing? It's time for the freedom. It's time for it now. If you live in one of those countries, go ahead and tell your government. Demand this. Do not settle for anything less. It is time to stand up and get to the freedom that is deserved across the globe, because it's going to help cryptocurrency. It's going to help Dogecoin massively. And I think there are huge opportunities here for us all across the globe to make sure that the world knows how strong our voices are and how important this is, how beneficial it can be to the world. We need to continue making sure our voices are heard. That's the most important thing here, and not just in our countries, but across the globe. It can happen, it will happen, and we're going to make sure of it. But yeah, there's no question. There's no question about that. And I do appreciate some of the comments. There are a lot of people saying nice things, but anyway, yeah, there's no question about that. Oh yeah, I think we definitely should fix that for sure. But anyway, I'm at loss. This is Final Stand, and I will see you in the next video.